Football season is right around the corner, and I am incredibly excited about it. And it's going to be the first time in a long while that I get to be a fan again. Because I used to play football like 6-7 months ago. And it got me thinking, I'm going to be just like those guys watching the games in the stands, just like those fans who yell at the players. And I'm kind of excited. And it also got me thinking, what would be an amazing thing to talk about is the fact that when I do watch the games, there's things that I hate as a fan. And one thing that is extremely even more important to me is the stuff that I hated when I was a player. So I thought it would be pretty cool to recap the things that I didn't like as a player and just really irked me. Made my skin crawl, made my brain boil. So today on A Dose of Richie, I'm gonna run down my football pet peeves from when I was a player. Now, number one is TV timeouts. Now, when you play at a higher level school, you're most likely going to be on games like SC Network, ESPN, or if you're Notre Dame, you get that little contract with NBC. There's nothing that I used to hate more than us having a big play, and then you see this guy in a ref gear come with a sign, and then it says 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and you're just sitting there. Now, football's a game of momentum, and that is the biggest momentum killer, is just standing there. When you're watching the game at home, you don't really get the fact that while that TV thing's going on, we're just standing around talking to coach about the next play. We probably already had the play in for 10-15 seconds, and then we're just standing around getting water and looking around. This is even more of a bad thing if you're a player who doesn't get in, because that was me pretty much my entire time there, except for the last half of the year of my last year. You would stand there, say if it was raining or if it's cold, or even worse, if it's a blowout and you in those conditions, it can be 56-0. They're going to make their money. So after a kickoff, there'll be 4 minutes left in the game. You still see that damn guy with the sign. That's one of the guys I hated the most. And I was in Missouri. This is in the Midwest. Say it's a game in October, November. Or even worse, it's the dang Arkansas game, and it's December, it's freezing. And then the game could be getting on, but instead you're just sitting there waiting in the cold. Now, for my number two thing, goes into the scouting period when you're scouting for a team, scouting for a game. And that's when coaches overcoach a situation because we're playing against something we've never seen before. Now, I can't really explain it in depth, but I could give an example from this past year. The second game of the year, we were playing Kansas State. Kansas State comes out in 3-3. A 3-3 stack. We never really went against a 3-3 stack that can change into a 3-2 like that. We never really played Big 12 teams like that, at least since when I was there. So we spent literally the very first week, because we were preparing for K-State even while we was preparing for La Tech, and we was blocking this thing a pretty reasonable way. We do zone blocking, so instead of blocking into our zone, we were just assigned a man. So the front, so say they lined up in a 3-2, and we were running outside zone to the left. The left tackle and the left guard are responsible for the defensive end and the play side linebacker, while the center and the backside guard is responsible for the backside linebacker. And then we account for the guys in the box, and then the running back can run the safety. We come in Tuesday, Wednesday, and we started to change it up because we were scared of play side linebacker run through because K-State plays aggressive. And I was like, but if we're looking at him, we can just come off and block him. But no, they wanted the center to run out and try to catch the play side linebacker just in case he blitzes early. In my head, I wanted to go look to see who are we emulating here. And then the worst part about that was that the only team from our film that did that the previous year, because K-State was in the beginning of the year, was Kansas. Now Kansas had a pretty good season this past season, but the year before they were fucking trash. So I was like, why are we trying to block K-State like Kansas did when the teams that beat them, like I don't know, maybe the Big 12 champs, Baylor that year, blocked it this way. So I was like emulating success and all that. And then we get into the game and doing this left the backside guard on the island with the nose guard. So if the nose guard chose to penetrate, he pretty much made the play every single time. There's this crazy stuff like that. This can go into number 3 seamlessly, because number 3 of one of my pet peeves is a little bit of a racial thing, but it's that we don't tend to use stereotypes when going up against players during scouting. And I saw this mostly on the defensive side than the offensive side. But once again, I can tell a story to illustrate that. We were playing Auburn, and Auburn had a young quarterback that was making one of his first starts against us. It was a very awful game. Don't want to tell you how it ended. It was pretty bad. So when we played Auburn, they had this young black quarterback. Now, not to be racist, but if we're being realistic here, if a young black quarterback is dropping back to pass on 3rd down and he sees no one open, he's gonna take off. So and the fact that we didn't have a spy up that first drive, that's like literally how Auburn scored their first touchdown against us, was that we just would not account for a running quarterback who's black running the football when he saw no one open. Crazy to me. So those two things kind of go hand in hand, and it was more of stories more so than just a fair point of like things that really pissed me off. Now, as an offensive player, this one really, really does irk me. Because now this next one is more of a after the game type vibe, or when you're playing against a low-level opponent and you didn't win like you should have, or you got completely blown out, is when the coach tries to give the silver lining speech instead of just telling us what we need to hear. Because everyone in the locker room saying that we played like trash, we played awful, we didn't deserve to win, we're all mad at ourselves, we need to get better, and then you hear the coach saying, we gotta stay together. like, it's crazy to me, like on game day, the different speech that you get outside of the stuff you get during the week. Like, we've had several of those losses on my time at Mizzou, and it's just not what I hate to hear. It's more like, oh my God, shut up type stuff when they say things like that. A very huge example was when we played Abilene Christian, and we only won by like 17 points. And then it could have been the speech of, a win's a win, but we need to get better. But he was like, why are you guys so mad? Yeah, getting a win in college football is one of the hardest things you can do. He was playing at home against an FCS opponent. And then he started to compare, it's like, there was guys out there who lost games today, but we was able to get a win. It was like, and we was all sitting there and like, that's not at all the message that you need to be telling us right now. Now this last one is more catered towards the fans, more so than anything else. And that's when a fan who's like, this is especially prevalent in like journalism schools, when they try to ask you a question that is about the team, that is literally, legitimately going to tear the team apart if you answer it. If you ask about a position battle, we're not going to answer you. We're going to say both of the players are great and that we're going to be able to win with either one of them. That's going to be the answer. I don't know what player you was able to get stuff out of in the past, but it's just never going to happen if he's media trained. This was the extreme, like the craziest thing. This was this past year. We won a game 52-24. And I went to go get a pizza because I was big, I was fat, doing fat shit. A fan found out that a student found out I played football while I was waiting on the pizza. And he was like, yeah, that was a great game. So so fuck Brady Cook, right? I was like, whoa. like, what the fuck? Like, he started talking about, who do you think should be the quarterback? Just because I don't think he gets that. And I was like, in what universe do you think I'm going to answer that question? When they ask about position battles, we're not gonna give the answer. When you ask about how you feel about coaches, we're not gonna give the answer. Maybe if we're not playing for the team anymore, maybe we'll be able to give you a thing about how we really felt it went down. But while we're playing, it's one, not in our best interest, because it's gonna hurt the team, because we don't know if you're gonna tell people or not. And two, even if we did know, why would you think you're special enough to know what's going on in the locker room? Just doesn't really make sense to me.